we connected? We're good.
It's now time for our starting lineups. First for Auburn. Goalkeeper number 17, Kate Hart. Number 1, midfielder Haley Whitaker. Number 2, defender Riley Kikowski. Number 3, defender
Good call. Hey, Michael, thank you.
Number 4, midfielder Bree Folds. Number 10, midfielder Caroline Peterson. Number 12, defender Sarah Houcham. Number 14, forward Sydney Richards. Number defender. Number 28, forward Trevor Aycock. And number 44, midfielder Angeline Daly. The head coach for Auburn is Karen Hoppa, assisted by Mia Hayes and Nick Torrey.
And it is a sunny, warm Thursday night, and how about a hot matchup to start off the women's soccer season. Derek Sharp here with you, the crowd settling in, and it is going to be some opener for the 2019 USF women's soccer team. Starting lineup being announced right now for the Bulls, who are hosting the Auburn Tigers, a team that last year defeated the Bulls very early in the season by the score of 2-1. Bulls obviously looking to avenge that defeat. They are getting all sorts of national publicity, namely around their outstanding goal scorer, Evelyn Bien, the all-time already as a senior leading goal scorer in USF history. She has 48 of them. She just recently was named to the best 11 in the country by Top Door Soccer. Andrea Hogstadter and the just announced Lucy Roberts also getting some national publication. Hogstadter is another All-American sort, and Roberts is an All-Freshman sort. Now it's time for the Bulls to put it on the field. In fact, you can't call it an upset if the Bulls were to win today, although it's still something that you feel like they have to prove that they can beat and not much less compete with a team from the SEC if they want to do what they plan on doing, which is going past the second round of the NCAA tournament, somewhere they've been in each of the last 2 years before bowing out to state teams. Last year, the defending national champion FSU took out the Bulls, even though it was a close game, 2-1. This team, as I mentioned, Auburn defeated the Bulls up in Alabama. The Tigers ended up making the NCAA tournament for the 5th year in a row, even though they lost. The Bulls are ranked preseason. Auburn is not. It's the first of 2 SEC opponents to come to Corbett Stadium this weekend. The Auburn Tigers tonight, the Florida Gators on Sunday, and of course the Bulls are completely focused on tonight's opponent, the Auburn Tigers. Denise Schulte Brown, the head coach of the Bulls, into her 13th season, fired up. You'll hear her comments before the game, and then it'll be time to kick it off. This is Women's Soccer on USF Bulls Unlimited. we are getting set to kick this thing off. USF and Auburn beginning the 2019 soccer season, one of possibly unsurpassed expectations for the Bulls, as they have, and this is the reason why it's not to put too much pressure before we kick off the first game on the team, but you have the seniors, Evelyn Vienne, you have Andrea Hochstadter, both seniors, Abby McGrath, who is last year's second leading scorer, senior, and that's why this is it for them. The Bulls ranked number 18 in the coaches poll, ranked number 14 by Top Drawer Soccer earlier this week. Obviously, a lot of high expectations, and they're going to go with the lineup representative of what they put out during their first two and only two exhibition games. They defeated Stetson in DeLand by the score of 6-0, then an impressive North Texas team that the Bulls took down by the count of 2-0. And Lucy Roberts, the freshman from England, right in the center of that defense. Important to note that the Bulls do have, if they need her, and I would expect her to play, if she's ready to play, obviously, Olivia Cook. She has been playing with the national team in Canada, missed the two exhibition games, but they're going to go ahead and stick with Roberts, assuming the reasoning behind that is that, she's been in the lineup, she's gotten her legs underneath her, and she's been doing very well alongside of Cheyenne Dennis in the middle of that defense. On the left side of the defense for the Bulls, Bree Blethen. On the right side, the outstanding Sabrina Wagner. Middle of the park, mentioned Andrea Hochstadter. Katie Kitching, who has been tremendous on the right side. Sydney Nasello. All sorts of speed to burn. Though in Rebecca Anderson, she is technically a defender, more like a defensive midfielder. And of course, Evelyn Vienne, the all-time leading goal scorer in USF Bulls history. On the other side, the name to watch out for, not that there's just one, but certainly number 4, Bree Folds. She is a senior for Auburn, an All-American player last year, and she is from Lakeland Christian, one of several Floridians on the team. Their other SEC mention for the preseason, Alyssa Melanson. She is a junior out of Houston. She was actually third in the league in assists last year, despite being a defensive player. And Treva Aycock, a forward who added 7 goals and 6 assists. She is a senior, so Auburn certainly is a formidable opponent for the Bulls here tonight. And we are underway at Corbett Stadium, where the weather has been an issue for all of the exhibition games. The only issue tonight will be, gosh, it's hot. And it was heat index around 100 not a couple of hours ago. Of course, we kick off at 7 o'clock, so it's not so bad. USF wearing the white jersey, smart on a night like tonight, with the green trim. On the other side, Auburn wearing the blue with the orange numerals. The Auburn Tigers head coach is Karen Hoppe. She is entering her 21st season, has had so much success with the Tigers, and they've only been around for 25 years. She's been the coach for most of them. Denise Schulte-Brown, the only second coach in USF history in her 13th year. Bulls trying to get their legs underneath them. It is interesting to see the pitch in the light here. There was an exhibition game here last night. There was a lot of rain, and of course that's been the case here in Florida, so it is a little bit choppy. It's not as smooth as we're used to it being. But the Bulls look firm in their steps right now with Sabrina Wagner. As I say that, she just got kicked in the heels by an Auburn player, but appears none the worse for wear. Sydney Richards, a big name to bring up for Auburn, a freshman, one of a couple in their starting lineup tonight, as she scored 2 goals in their exhibition 3-0 victory against Mercer. Like the Bulls, they went 2-0. Good feed by Blethen to Sydney Nasello, who's in on the left side, tries to cut into the penalty box and earns a corner kick for the Bulls. Able to knock it off the would-be defender there. And so early action here for USF, as it was Bree Blethen up on that left wing feeding the ball to Nasello, and the sophomore from Land O'Lakes has all sorts of speed, and you just give her a little bit of space and she's going to be able to create something out of it. Andrea Hochstadter, as we hit the 2-minute mark, will be taking the corner kick, as she will be taking most of them tonight. Does a little bit of a shimmy shake and a fake, and there it is, short to Nasello. It was whiffed on by Auburn, but Sabrina Wagner gets it, knocked away by the Tigers. Lucy Roberts with a good-looking shot, but it's snagged by the starting goalie, and we should mention her, Kate Hart. She is a grad transfer from San Diego State. There was a question, who would get the start in net? And that is a big question for the Bulls, but first effort there by Kate Hart, who again got a lot of experience at San Diego State and was able to snag it. The original defense there was by Olivia Dedels, a midfielder, a sophomore from Lawrenceville, Georgia, who knocked that dangerous-looking Sabrina Wagner effort away, but Lucy Roberts had a chance. Oh, Wagner, speaking of, pulls Cindy Martinez, her goalkeeper, out of the net, and now Sabrina Wagner is down. This is not good. Wagner has her head in her hands, and this is a scary moment here early on, unfortunately. Sabrina Wagner is such an awesome player for the Bulls, and what happened there is a little miscommunication between her and her goalkeeper, Cindy Martinez, and Wagner. Essentially, it seemed as though thought Martinez was going to play the ball. She ended up getting clipped, and it was just an awkward approach to the ball, and certainly something to do with her lower leg. As she is being attended to, good news is that the Bulls certainly have options on defense. Cheyenne Dennis and Lucy Roberts in the middle. Roberts just uncorked a pretty good-looking shot that was saved by Hart. And of course, you got Bree Blethen and Wagner. They have Olivia Cook available, and sure enough, as I look to my left, she is the one who is warming up. That would make all the sense in the world for the Bulls to get her out there. And believe me, you could have a worse first substitute if you have a starter on defense go down. But the real story would be if Wagner can stay in the game, and hoping this is not anything bad. She is going to try and hop up, and she is able to gimpily walk off, and that's good. She doesn't have to have anyone help her off the field. In other words, she can put both of her weight on both of her legs. It looked like it was something with the right leg, so just maybe an awkward moment there where she turned the way she didn't think she was going to turn. So now the first, and we're not even 3 minutes into the season, the first drop ball, and they're going to go ahead and let Auburn play it, and I think that's in deference to the fact that Auburn sort of gave up on the play, realizing that Sydney Martinez was hurt. It's the head official, and that looks like Treva Aycock for Auburn, and I think she wants to turn to her bench and make sure they play this with the proper amount of couth, because it technically could be a scoring opportunity, and indeed plenty of couth there and good sportsmanship as she rolls it back to Sydney Martinez. Well, Wagner is not going to be able to return, at least right now, and Olivia Cook, again, certainly not a big-time drop-off. She is an outstanding player, Cookie, and she will slot right into Wagner's position on the right side of the defense for the Bulls. Katie Kitching up on the right midfield as Cook has the ball, and again, it's not like she hasn't been playing. She didn't play in the exhibition games for the Bulls, but she played for the Canadian junior team, and she is outstanding as a sophomore on the squad. Bulls have a tremendous defense, and their depth is strong, and it's already being tested right now. We'll keep an eye on Wagner for you. She is, once I get her in sight, I'll let you know what she's being worked on by the trainers. As we see, Sydney Nasello up to Evelyn Vienne. She is in on net for a possible chance to score. She scores! Evelyn Vienne gets the feed from Sydney Nasello. And you just knew that Auburn was in trouble, because when she gets one-on-one on the goalie, it's a quick, decisive, final story that is written. And less than 4 minutes in, Evelyn Vienne puts the Bulls up. Cook kind of started that play from the center of the field, found Sydney Nasello, and I tell you what, Sid, she's not going to necessarily rack up a ton of goals this year, but she is as dangerous of a goal threat because she can create with her speed. And in that case, just a very simple and smart pass to Vienne, and unbelievable how quickly she got around. Vienne's speed is very underrated. Kick from Auburn, and all of a sudden the Bulls have the ball again, and it's Nasello now with two players on her, running them ragged. Actually, good job there from Auburn, the freshman Sydney Richards, of getting her off the ball. Now it's Aycock, the second leading returning scorer, looking to find Haley Whitaker, a sophomore from Birmingham, unable to do so there. Whitaker started 16 of their 20 games last year. Again, Auburn went 12-6-2. Already, the Bulls are ahead of the Auburn Tigers by the score of 1-0 on the goal by Evelyn Vienne, the 49th of her career. And if you forget about the opponent for a second, it looked like they could have been playing anybody there. It was that simple and that textbook of a goal. You can hear the wind, which is, believe me, welcomed for these players, as it is just a stiflingly hot day. And be careful what you wish for, because we had lightning delay the men's game by 2 hours last night, and the rain has actually been an issue, but It was a nice, cool rain. And there's nothing nice and cool about tonight other than the scoreline if you're a Bulls fan. Derek Sharp with the call, Evelyn Vienne with the goal here early on. Bulls with the first of 2 to open the season at home against SEC opponents. Rebecca Anderson, who has been very, very solid this preseason. She was right in the starting lineup. In fact, if my memory serves me, because I was there in DeLand for the first game, yeah, this is the same exact starting lineup, including Lucy Roberts, the freshman who just passes the ball. Now, of course, Wagner was in the starting lineup. Cook, with the injury to Wagner tonight, has jumped in her spot. And Angeline Daly, a very dangerous player whose name we haven't mentioned yet, gets past Kitching up to Aycock, and Cheyenne Dennis is going to try and keep it from being a corner kick, and she does that successfully. Rebecca Anderson, a senior out of Durant High School. Bulls have a sprinkling of Tampa Bay area players on the squad. And for that matter, Auburn has a sprinkling of Floridian players, Tampa Bay specifically, with Bree Folds. All-American last year out of Lakeland Christian. I believe they are the Vikings. Don't quote me on that. Quick corner kick taken by Auburn as Folds caused it. That ball is sent in by Bree, but too far. A lot of, and more than we've seen for any of the games here, support there on the left side of Corbett Stadium in that. Boy, didn't expect to be doing geography right now. That would be the west side of the stadium. And incidentally, Auburn is looking into, as in most cities in the world, the sun sets in the west, so Auburn is straight looking into that sun. And there was an interesting discussion. I can drop you in a little bit of inside knowledge here in the pregame, where the discussion was, would the drummer who is sitting behind the goal on that west side, so right now he's behind USF's goalie, Sidney Martinez, go from end to end, or would he just start off on the end he's on now and sort of greet people, and then second half is when he would start to try and distract the Auburn goalie, so that's the way we're going with that. Auburn trying to answer back on the Bulls' score. 7.5 minutes gone here. Evelyn Vienne gets the Bulls on the board. Assist from Sydney Nasello in the 4th minute. And Auburn has had the better of the play in the last few minutes. Looks like Wagner, who again went down with some sort of leg injury, is at least able to not have any trainers attending to her now, but she is sitting down, so she does not look like she wants to try and get back in the game. Just hope that's nothing that can be long-term, and if I'm guessing right now, I'd guess positively there. Great pass from Cook up the right wing to Katie Kitching. She cuts it in, has a possible opening in Vienne, but instead sends it back to her. Now Vienne tries to take a defender 1v1, cuts it back, tries to send it into the middle of the park, but it's intercepted by Auburn. Good defense there by the Tigers' Sarah Houchin on Vienne, keeping her from being able to turn. Now the Bulls turn the ball back towards the middle of the park to Cheyenne Dennis. Over to Lucy Roberts, who's got the blue boots. The Brit. Scanning the field. Yeah, she's the only one going with the blue. It's not Auburn blue. It's more like North Carolina blue. There is Aycock. She tried to send it over to the freshman Richards, but Roberts was all over that again. Lucy Roberts started right away in the exhibition season in the middle of the defense next to Cheyenne Dennis, who feels like for all the world is a senior, but is not. And the Bulls are happy to have her back there as a junior. Rebecca Anderson essentially has earned the starting role that it really is windier than I thought. Sorry about that. Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche had taken many times last year, but we will see, I'm guessing, Pelletier-LaRoche off the bench tonight. Katie Kitching tries to find Olivia Cook, sprinting up the right wing, so she looks to be in good form, especially for someone that didn't expect to be playing so soon. Again, Sabrina Wagner injured in the 3rd minute of this game, Bulls scoring about a minute later. I do see Wagner now lining up with her teammates, and they are asking her. I see Mia Palongo asking her how she's doing. I think she's going to be okay. Basically has her right sock pulled down, so obviously it was something on her right leg and sort of relieving the pressure there. I think she may be okay. But again, the Bulls in good hands. Nice poke pass from Kitching to Nasello, and on the ground to Hochstadter, who actually has not touched the ball that often tonight. And she doesn't have a chance to touch it there because Alyssa Melanson, outstanding defender, boots it away. It'll be a throw-in for Auburn. As we pass the 10-minute mark, I want to thank you for tuning in to Soccer, USF Bulls Unlimited, the exclusive home of all the men's and women's home games this year. Proud to be there for you. Proud to be here for you. We do a lot more than soccer if you're new to the channel. Pretty much we do every sport. So if you're listening to this for the first time, punch it in, save it on your iHeart Radio app at USF Bulls Unlimited. Cheyenne Dennis, with a little pressure in the back, thinks about sending it to her goalkeeper, Sydney Martinez, but instead thinks better of it. Over to Bree Blethen on the left side of the defense. Rebecca Anderson, very on her toes tonight in a good way, avoiding some Auburn pressure, but the Bulls lose possession back to midfield. Far right side of the field, Sarah Houchin, the junior from Coppell, Texas. A couple players from Texas on the Houston roster. I was looking at a player from Houston on the Auburn roster. Martinez up to Cindy Nacella, who is pressured in the middle of the park by Angeline Daly. Fantastic player. Now the Bulls have something on Aubrey McGrath for her first touch. Has Kitchen cutting in, and Vienne could run onto this ball, but Kate Hart, the grad transfer from San Diego State, is all over that. Good idea there. Good vision by McGrath. So Bulls have the 1-0 lead as we are 11.5 minutes in, and really with nothing much from their second and third leading scorers, McGrath and Hochstadter, but of course their leading scorer, one of the leading scorers in the country, Evelyn Vienne, has the goal. Turnover at midfield. It's a 4-on-4. Auburn with Bree Folds in possession. This is dangerous. An All-American out of the SEC. You always get a little bit nervous when she has the ball. Sends it out to the right wing, but nothing doing there as it was curled in and intercepted by Cheyenne Dennis. So that possible threat was thwarted right away, even though Auburn has back the ball. It was Haley Whitaker, a sophomore from Birmingham, trying to cut that ball in, but Dennis, very imposing physical presence and the vocal leader of that defense, was all over it. Now Sydney Nacella thought about passing it up to Evelyn Vienne, but seeing that she's the only person up there against 4 Auburn defenders, cuts it back instead to Katie Kitching. Now it's Olivia Cook, and again we'll keep an eye on Sabrina Wagner. She does not have the yellow, what do they call those things? Anyway, those yellow things, those little vests. Oh man, it'll come to me in like 10 minutes. I'll stop thinking about it, but the subs, of course, all have those on so that there's no confusion when the ball gets towards the sideline. Wagner still has her white jersey on, and so maybe she's thinking that she can come back in the game. But the Bulls, again, good hands with Olivia Cook. Well, that's a good pass, and except for the fact that Trevor Aycock was offside, could have been a serious situation there for the Auburn Tigers. Their head coach, Hoppa, is doing one of those roaming around the benches right now, having a conversation with herself, trying to gear herself up for the next bit of instruction. Either that or she's getting some liquid, which is probably a smart idea. Oh, take it back. She's getting her sunglasses back on. Actually, the sun right now is down, so that's an advantage for Auburn as, again, for the first half, if the sun's out, they are looking into that thing the whole way, but right now there's a decent cloud cover. Here at Corbett Stadium, as we hit the 14-minute mark, the Bulls up on Auburn in the season opener. Women's soccer. Vienne to Cook. Sees McGrath cutting up the field, but a little too much on that ball. McGrath last year, 9 goals, 0 assists. That's all right. Goal scorers don't have to necessarily be passers. You know, the first game in this exhibition season against Stetson, when she scored the 2 goals, both basically were created by the passer. One case Kitching, the other Vienne, and McGrath was quick to congratulate and thank the person that passed the ball to her. That time she tries to feed it into the box to Vienne, but it's intercepted by Auburn. Looked like a foul. No call there on McGrath, so she's going to be able to roam here. That's an interesting scenario in this game. We haven't seen many fouls called. None that I can think of in the first 15 minutes, and that certainly was a story last year. When the Bulls fell behind, they lost their composure, they started committing fouls. It wasn't like the team that we saw the other however many games there were last year, and ended up committing 24 fouls. They committed 250 on the year, so basically 1/10 of their fouls in one game, and they played 19 games. Gives you an idea. Cheyenne Dennis keeps it out of danger. Comes up from the defense over the midfield stripe to clear away a potential threat for Auburn, but it's going to be the Tigers' ball. Oh, nice play there for Auburn by Sydney Richards as Cook was on her back, and she cleared space there. Now she tries to feed, and a good pass to Aycock, but Cheyenne Dennis again all over it. Boy, Cheyenne has been tremendous here tonight. Bulls ever so happy that she is on their side. Just a tremendous, tremendous player out of a big-time high school program down in south of the state, American Heritage. Cheyenne Dennis has certainly been on the spot tonight. Throw in, though, for Auburn, deep in USF territory, and Roberts riding folds off the ball. Good job there. Cross in, and Dennis this time heads it away, but it's over to Whitaker. And Sydney Nasello is going to have to cut back to try and cut off Whitaker's path, and does a great job of it. Clears it away. Haley Whitaker, who in her freshman season last year played in every game, started all but 4. You could tell she's a dangerous player, but the Bulls have been up to the task. That's a decent ball in and headed well over the net, though, by Sydney Richards. We are at the 16.5-minute mark, so the Tigers certainly getting the better of the play right now, but the Bulls have the lead by the score of 1-0. You're listening to us on a Thursday night. Oh, that ball is almost intercepted by Folds. A dangerous pass across by Lucy Roberts, but Cheyenne Dennis does collect it and kicks it out of bounds. If you're listening to us on a Thursday night, we got some news for you at halftime. We had plenty of news today around USF Bulls land, including something to get you fired up for the football season. As we are speaking, volleyball is playing in its green and gold scrimmage to our left at the Corral. A lot happening, and this is actually the first match of the regular season for any sport at USF this year. Nice send it across by a Hawksdaughter to Olivia Cook, who again is on that right side in for Sabrina Wagner here tonight. And Cook looks very comfortable out there. Truthfully, if you look at the Bulls' starting 4 on defense, it's absolutely mind-boggling that Olivia Cook wouldn't be in the starting lineup, but I'm sure that Denise Schulte-Brown, the head coach of the Bulls, just wanted to keep the same starters that have been so solid for the first 2 exhibition games, so the Bulls have not given up a goal. And so the fact that Sabrina Wagner went down with what appears to be a minor injury, in fact, she is off to my left doing jogs right now, so I think she's going to be just fine. But the point is, Cook coming off the bench, kind of an anomaly. She is a starter for most nights and most teams. 18 minutes gone on this night. Bulls up 1-0. Goal kick played up by Kate Hart, who apparently won the starting goalkeeping battle between herself and a freshman, Maggie Van Thulenaar. Ball is up. Evelyn Vienne had a chance to run onto it, and she is going to lose barely the battle with Hart as Olivia the Devils played it back, and a little bit slowly. Vienne, again, unsung for her speed. She is best known for basically striking the ball ability, and that's what the all-time leading scorer in USF history should be known for, but she can also put on bursts of speed that you don't necessarily appreciate unless you're down on the field. First foul, I think, of the game committed by the Bulls, so a far cry from the 24 they committed last year as we hit the 19-minute mark. Good effort there by Aycock to try and send it into Whitaker, but a little bit missed on that connection. I think that ball would have been offside, as it was Caroline Peterson, the freshman midfielder. We mentioned that they had a couple of freshmen in the lineup, Richard Shee and Riley Pekoski, a freshman from Austin, Texas. Not a bad idea there to try and chip it over the Bulls' defense to Folds, but I'm pretty sure Folds was offside, so there was no need to call it because the ball rode out of bounds, so it'll be a USF goal kick. Played into the center to Anderson. Bulls lose possession. Talking about internationals, even though there haven't been a whole bunch on the field tonight, technically we just are seeing a international superstar get into the stands and watch the game here tonight. Talking about Georgina Korick, the junior. Oh, ball is turned over. Oh, that is a big break for the Bulls because Sydney Martinez lost the battle for possession of the ball. almost out of nothing. And Auburn is appealing for a penalty. Sidney Richards took the ball from Martinez. And the only reason it's not a penalty is that Martinez went for the ball and grabbed it, fortunately, or that would have been a clear shot for Auburn. Boy, a big-time mistake averted there by the Bulls. And again, Auburn is still wanting a PK to be called, but I think that was a good job of the official. I think what Kieran Hoppe, the coach for Auburn, is saying is that Martinez shoved the player in her effort to get the ball, but I didn't see that. Kevin Flynn was all over that call. Unfortunately for the Bulls, not only did Martinez get the ball, but no PK was called. Wow. So Auburn had a chance there, but the Bulls stay on top 1-0. So I had Georgina Cork, as I was saying, a junior on the softball team, their ace pitcher, who conference pitcher of the year. Unbelievable players here watching the game. A lot of folks here in the stands at Corbett Stadium. Would anticipate a lot being here on Sunday night, too, at 6 o'clock for a game against the Florida Gators. But, hey, the Bulls are the ranked team. Neither of those squads are, believe it or not. Auburn was ranked for much of last year before, well, they got into SEC play and ended up going 4-5-1, which can happen. Out of conference, they were 8-1-1. Just shows you how tough of a league that is. Got to host a first-round game, which you do if basically you're in the top half of the field. Lost it, though, to Minnesota. Previous year didn't have as good of a overall record, 8-7-5, but their 4-2-4 SEC mark got them into the tournament again, hosting a game which they won before losing out at Stanford year before. Yeah, they made the Elite Eight, so Auburn, outstanding team. Team that beat the Bulls last year, but right now is trailing them 1-0 as we near the midway point of the first half. Derek Sharp here with you on USF Bulls Unlimited. Keeping an eye on some other scores in the conference, by the way, as 10 teams in the American Athletic Conference play women's soccer, and all but one of them are playing tonight. Just see that UCF has fallen behind Wisconsin. Still, of course, plenty of time in that game. Bulls were picked to win the thing, just barely over Memphis, the team that beat the Bulls here in the conference tournament finals last year, convincingly 3-0, even though the Bulls were the number one seed. The regular season champion won at Memphis. So basically it's a coin toss between those two teams to win the conference. We have a ways to go before we get into that, and this is a formidable and probably formative part of the Bulls schedule. If they can pick up wins a majority of their games against this schedule, it would be saying something. So far, so good against the Auburn Tigers, up 1-0 as we hit the 23-minute mark here at Corbett. Sydney Nasello, who assisted Evelyn Vienne on the goal, has to play it back to Sydney Martinez, her goalkeeper, who plays it well to Lucy Roberts. Bulls really haven't had much free flowing, and here's somebody that usually starts off any sort of scoring threat. Andrea Hochstadter, and a nice ball up the right side to Olivia Cook. She tries to feed McGrath down the right wing, but it's going to roll, and Auburn's going to see if it can go out of bounds. It will not, so Alyssa Melanson will play it. Again, Bree Folds, the senior from Lakeland, and Treva Aycock were the three all-conference predictions to start off this season in the SEC. If you're an all-conference pick in the SEC, you are good. And if you're just considered. Evelyn Vienne, we know she's good. Makes the goalkeeper Hart play that ball quickly and actually makes her play it out of bounds. So it'll be Bulls ball. Bree Blethen up to throw it in. Back to the center to Cheyenne Dennis. Looks like she wants to feed someone in the box, but the Bulls aren't making any runs except here on the right side to Cook, so maybe they switch it over to here. Sure enough, Dennis to Roberts to Cook. Now she tries to keep possession, barely gets it to not go out of bounds on the right sideline right in front of the Auburn bench. Their coach was hoping that would be called out of bounds, but instead the Bulls throw to Kitching. Tries to work it with Cook. Nice job there. Kitching is in on the right side, looks to cross it. Does well, but Sydney Nasello can't quite get on the end of it. That's a good ball by Kitching. Auburn was focusing its attention on Vienne, and it went over her head to Nasello. Would have been a tough strike. Would have been a miraculous strike. But the Bulls maintain possession. Anderson over to Hochstadter. Back to Kitching, who started off that threat and tries a long shot. Has a go, as they might say in her native England, but it goes well over the net. Mentioned Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche would be one of the first off the bench, and indeed she is. coming in for Katie Kitching, who had a good run there. Auburn makes a substitution as well. And this is no surprise to see her being the first off the bench. Jessie Giroux played in all but one game last year, but only started a couple. Had a goal against the Bulls. It was a really, really fantastic piece of soccer on both of the goals by Auburn. They certainly earned the win against the Bulls last year. There was nothing fluky about it up in Alabama. But now they're going to have to come from behind in this one. Anderson sticking with Treva Aycock out there on the far side of the pitch from where I am, and stayed with her a little bit too much. Official tells Sydney DeCello, you know what, I don't need your help throwing the ball back 10 yards to Auburn. The free kick's actually up here on the center line. Thanks, but no thanks. Now the sun is starting to set, so that not only visual impairment from Auburn's perspective, but also heat impairment for all of us is looking like it's going to become less and less of a factor. Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche into the match for the Bulls. Someone who certainly is used to playing minutes out there. And Katie Kitching, generally speaking, has been one of the first attacking players off the field for the Bulls. And again, Pelletier-LaRoche has been a starter for much of her career. Last year, she essentially started all but one game. But this year, Rebecca Anderson seems to be in that defensive midfield role. Roberts over to Cook. Feeds Hochstadter on the run. Poke pass to Vienne, and it's knocked away well by the Tigers. That was Sarah Haushen. I think Vienne wanted to cut it back, but Haushen with a tremendous tackle, but it is going to lead to a corner kick for the Bulls. So, tremendous pass by Hochstadter, and as Auburn is trying to get an equalizing goal, the Bulls get a little space there more than you'd expect, especially from Hochstadter and Vienne, but that time the Tigers were all over Vienne, and namely Haushen. So it's going to be Hochstadter from the right side for the second corner for the Bulls. Sydney DeCello is next to her. There are two Tigers drawn out. Rebecca Anderson unguarded at the top of the box. Let's see if Hochstadter cuts it back to her. Nope, she's going to feed a ball into the center, and it's loose, and there's a decent shot by Pelletier-LaRoche, and she had a chance there but couldn't keep it down over the net for a goal kick. Boy, that was a serious opportunity right there as the ball settled down to Pelletier-LaRoche, and she was unguarded, but couldn't quite come up with the goods. Another substitution for Auburn. Remember, this is a team playing. The Bulls are playing for the first game. And I know it's been hot in Auburn, but the humidity of Florida is a different story. So a couple substitutions now. Corey Loxley into the game. She is a redshirt sophomore out of Silver Spring, Maryland. So second substitution of the night. And it's actually going to be Treva Aycock that exits right now for the Tigers. Their second returning leading scorer on the team takes a seat. Again, Bree Folds is the kid from Lakeland, the All-American, but she really hasn't had too much in the way of a threat so far in this game. Credit Cheyenne Dennis for a lot of that tonight. 28 minutes gone in the first half. Loxley into the game. This is a big deal for her. She was hurt 6 games into last year and actually only played in 4 games in her freshman season. Got the medical redshirt because of that, so really hasn't had a full season. Folds tries to feed Loxley, but too much on that ball, so it'll be played by the Bulls goalkeeper, Sydney Martinez. Loxley had 39 goals and 44 assists in 3 years in high school. See if she has any better luck up on that right wing than Haley Whitaker did. She was the first sub out for the Tigers as we near the half-hour mark of this contest. Bulls up 1-0, playing pretty solidly right now, not trying to do too much. Evelyn Vienne, who has the goal, has 2 players on her. Good example, drops it off to Rebecca Anderson, who was able to maintain possession despite a stumble on this, again, a little bit soggy pitch here at Corbett Stadium. In front of me, see the men's team starting to fill in. They just finished up their practice, or they would have been here sooner. They will start off their season next week on the road at the defending national champion, Maryland. That's all. Olivia Cook in for Vienne, and it's headed away well, but Vienne still has a chance. She's going to, think about Nacella, but it was knocked away. That almost was dangerous. McGrath instead collects the rebound and is only able to shoot it wide. Boy, Vienne had the right idea there. And Nacella was open, and an Auburn player just barely got their foot on the ball, or that would have been a free shot or a free send-in on goal for Nacella. Good chance there for the Bulls. The men's soccer team does have one more home exhibition match. They're 2-0 so far. They're playing UT, University of Tampa, on Saturday night. Ball over to Giroux. The Bulls know all about her, trying to get into the box, but instead feeds it back for Daly. Nacella makes her drop it back off to Petkoski, the freshman. And Nacella uses her speed to steal it away from Petkoski, and Nacella was grabbed and held that whole way. Wants a quick restart up to Evelyn Vienne. Can she win a 1-on-4 battle? This would be something. That's how many people are on her. Vienne to her right. Oh, she might get a shot off out of that. And she does. A powerful blast, but over the goal. So 1-on-4. And with a quick dribble move, Vienne creates a lane for what would have been a difficult shot and a difficult angle to score from. But if anybody can do it, she can. That is part of what makes her so special. When I saw she was 1-on-4, I didn't discount the possibility of, what just happening. It would have been the definition of a solo goal. 31 minutes and change gone here in the first half. Bulls on top 1-0 on the Vienne goal back in the 4th minute. The men's soccer team happens to have set up shop behind the Auburn goal and their goalkeeper. Interesting strategy there. Wonder if they're giving her any tips. Harrison Devonish Mears, the goalkeeper for the Bulls men's team, is on the rail closest to Kate Hart of Auburn. So I'm sure that's exactly what he's doing, imparting some words of wisdom. Across the park to Dennis, and Loxley was on her heels. And what a great move by Dennis to get out of trouble there and move it up to Brie Blethen. Oh, didn't quite get a full connection on that pass, but Cindy Nacella uses that speed to get to the ball. Up to Fanny Pelletier-Rowe. She wants to find Vienne. It comes down to her. She's got a chance at a shot here, and it's low, and it's stopped. A kick save, actually a foot save by Kate Hart. Very poised save, but a good ball in by Pelletier-LaRoche. And Vienne did so well to gather it in and create that shot. She had a defender on her, and she ended up getting it off about 8 yards from goal, and very poised save by Hart there. It was kind of right at her, but from close distance. You can say it was right at her, but you still have to have the fortitude, especially against one of the top scorers in the country, to make that save, and she did. Auburn now with a chance and a shot, and it's high. Oh, knocked over the goal by Cindy Martinez. Angeline Daly. That was ticketed for the upper 90. And the redshirt sophomore from Ponte Vedra High School with an absolutely fantastic shot, a 5-goal score from last year. And what a save by Cindy Martinez, absolutely skying to her left to keep the Bulls on top. Unbelievable stop. Bulls make a substitution. It'll be Cam Lizardi in for Olivia Cook, so Sabrina Wagner, even though she doesn't look seriously hurt, again, she went down in the early minutes of this game, not quite confident enough to come in, so the Braden River sophomore comes in. Corner kick after that great save by Martinez, and that's going to go in. That's an absolute goal by the Auburn Tigers to even it up. Corner kick was on point, and I believe that was Giroux, the same player who scored against USF last year. So as great as the save was by Martinez, there was no way she was going to stop that header, and we are even, just shy of the 34-minute mark. It is going to be Giroux, and the corner kick was served in by Caroline Peterson, a freshman, and it was right into the center of the park. You had a new defensive player coming in, and Bulls weren't ready, so now they're going to have to answer back. And if you didn't hear Denise Schulte-Brown before the game, she said, hey, you got plenty of goal-scoring opportunities for both teams, and good goalkeeping, but I think we're going to see a chance at a relatively high-scoring game, and now it's 1-1. Right off the bat, Evelyn Vienne served in a long ball and actually had a chance, but it was knocked away by Auburn's Alyssa Melanson. So Jessie Giroux getting it done there like she did against the Bulls last year. And that was that would have been impossible to stop because she ticketed it for the left-hand side of the net. It would have been a miraculous save. Giroux last year, 5 goals, 1 against the Bulls. Andrea Hochstadter pressures the goalkeeper Hart into playing that one well out of bounds, so it'll be a Bulls throw at the basically start of the Auburn defensive third of the field. So now with Cam Lizardi into the game for the Bulls, she is playing that right side of the defense where Sabrina Wagner started the game but left with an injury, and Olivia Cook played until just about a minute ago. And the other change is in the middle. Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche, a midfielder, central midfielder, has replaced Katie Kitching, who has more or less been on that right side. So they've shifted McGrath over to the right side in this particular alignment. Offsides called on the Bulls. They've been whistled now a few times for that. Good answer back by Auburn. Frankly, didn't foresee this game going 1-0. That would have been the height of optimism if you're looking at it from the Bulls' angle. It just doesn't feel like a 1-0 type of matchup. And again, Giroux in the middle of it with Lizardi there. Heads the ball, cleared away by the Bulls, but a throw into Auburn at midfield. Alyssa Melanson will take it. The 5'3" junior out of Houston. Up to Bree Folds, but Lucy Roberts was all over her. Well, Roberts does well to keep the ball on the right sideline, passing it back and forth with she and Cam Lizardi, but that pass is headed by Loxley, and now Rebecca Anderson has to get in and try and prevent this from being a dangerous situation, and just barely so. Now it's back to Auburn. Loxley's going to whip it in, and boy, that's dangerous as Roberts. I think Martinez could have snagged that ball, but instead she let it go to Roberts. There was a moment's hesitation there, but the Bulls cleared away. As we near the 37-minute mark, Bulls scored early on a goal by Evelyn Vienne, but the Tigers' Jessie Giroux has evened things up. Weather's starting to turn really nice here tonight. Looks like another substitution. That would be Jalen Gadsden out on the right side in. Snuck that one in on me when I was paying attention to something else. I believe that's Gadsden. The reason I knew it right away was I noticed her hair in the pregame warm-ups. It's blue-ish. It's nice. I like it. She's into the game now. 37 minutes gone, 8 minutes left in the half. Bulls trying to answer back here. Don't look particularly thrown off by giving up a goal. Cindy Nacella sends it out to Bree Blethen, who had some nice offensive work up from defense the other night in an exhibition win. Tries to send it across, but no one there other than Auburn's Caroline Peterson. Bulls have a throw in on the left side. It'll be taken into Pelletier-LaRoche. She's going to try and turn and send one in. And a decent ball in, but couldn't quite square it up. McGrath was sitting there waiting for service, but instead it squirted on towards the left side of the goal where Hart was able to easily field it. Good play there by Cameron Lizardi. And as a sophomore gets her foot on the ball, as Auburn had a mini threat there. So the Bulls certainly capable of answering right back, and hey, this is a good test. And to be honest, against North Texas and the 2-0 win, what the box score won't show is several, well, should have been goals by North Texas. Oh, Sydney Nacello created the first for the Bulls, and that's a chip shot, and I think it hit off the back side of the net. Hart did have it played well, but Nacello tried to chip it over her, and Sid the Kid is out there running around. There's going to be a stoppage of play. Looks like an Auburn player has a bit of a situation. And indeed, it looks like Jalen Gadsden, the aforementioned. Yeah, in that exhibition win against North Texas, there was a turnover early in the game after the Bulls had scored. It was a goal by Nacello, and one-on-one for North Texas with Sydney Martinez, and basically they kicked it right to her. So Gadsden will be going out. Brooke Burden will come in, a freshman from Boulder, Colorado. Love Boulder, Colorado. Then there ended up being in the second half a 2-on-0. An absolute should have been goal by North Texas where Ball got shot wide. Actually, Gadsden's going to stay in the game, so Burden comes in for someone else. I didn't see who she replaced. But either way, the point is, solid defense, yes, but maybe misleading with the 2 shutouts in the preseason. Nothing misleading. You know, Stetson had a couple of chances against the Bulls' second unit in that 6-0 win, but really North Texas should have scored. If you didn't catch it, their next game was 2 days later, and they went to UCF, and again, exhibition, but could have easily won that game. Ended up scoring 3 against the UCF Knights. Took the lead in the 87th minute, only to see the Knights tie it in the final minute. So, Bulls probably weren't going to go the rest of the year not giving up a goal, and they've given up 1 tonight. So we near 5 minutes left to go in the first half. Plenty of other games going on in the American. We'll let you know at halftime what's happening in those. Ball placed up to Lizardi, who has it knocked away by Auburn, but the Bulls try and keep the ball in the corner, and we're going to hold possession for a while before it knocks back out to Bree Folds. Good job there by Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche, who forces a pass from Folds, which is almost like a victory, to get her to get rid of the ball. Now it's popped up to Sylvana Poulter, and that's going to end up in being a corner kick. You hear the Auburn supporters, and there are plenty of them here. Makes sense. Applaud the effort, although Lucy Roberts did well to knock that ball out of bounds. It goes for a corner. Auburn Tigers will go from here to FGCU in Fort Myers. So why not, if you're from Alabama, come down and have an opening weekend on the coast of Florida, huh? That's exactly what they're doing. They scored on a corner kick the first time. I'll try and do it again here from the other side. Ball served in. And actually, Giroux tried to get her head onto it. Couldn't. Too high for her. Went out to, I believe that was Burden, but it was kicked well over the goal. Evelyn Vienne is going to check out. Ashley Mead is going to come in with about 4 minutes to go here in the first half. Vienne going to get an extra breather and be ready to go. I would be willing to wager. I don't do those things, but I'd be willing to, if you maybe say that she will be starting the second half. So Ashley Mead, junior, trying to earn more playing time. Looked very solid in the preseason. I later learned that she is a very skilled dribbler, trick shot artist, if you will, because, you know, the teams do those. It's not just all soccer drills. You got to have some fun. It's not all game-related stuff. And I guess Ashley Mead and Ivy Perez, one of the freshmen, are pretty good at it. Now she's on the field. 3.5 minutes to go. Bulls on defense right now is Melanson, guarded well by Roberts, and the ball gets knocked away. Up from defense, and look at Mead intercepting the ball from Diddels and sending it up to McGrath. What an effort there by Ashley Mead. Just gets away from McGrath, but you hear the way to go, Ashley, there, absolutely. For the junior from Wall Township, New Jersey. Did not play in a game last year. McGrath has it on the left side. And nice fake move. In fact, faked an Auburn player onto the turf and now earns a throw-in. Boy, Auburn McGrath is a physical player. As a matter of fact, the official is going to remind her that physical's okay, but don't hover over a player, which he did a little bit there, and that's something that McGrath has. I've seen her do a couple times in the past. Definitely like her aggressive mentality. 2.5 minutes to go in the first half. Tied at 1. Bulls trying to maybe get one here, but that's not going to happen now, as Andrea Hochstadter could not find a target, and that's what's happening for the Bulls right now. They're just not able to string much together, and when you have two good teams filled with talent on their rosters, the going's not going to be easy. You just want to try and pick out your spots when they're there, and certainly the Bulls did that on their goal, and they've had a couple of other opportunities here in the first half. Evelyn Vienne notably got in from about 7-8 yards. Had a shot that was ripped, but kick saved by Kate Hart. Sydney DeCello has been very industrious out there. Loses the ball, though, to Auburn for a throw-in, far away from the goal, right inside the USF defensive side of the field. Throw in by Gadsden, a lofted piece there. Cheyenne Dennis with some very confident footwork there. Knew she had time. Settled it to herself, sent it up the field, trying to find McGrath, who's up there alone with Ashley Mead. McGrath settles it back to Sydney Nasello, touches it to herself. Nice idea, got pulled again, and there's going to be a foul. Nasello sort of whipped her hand up in the air to say, "Come on, man," and the official said, "I got you, I got you, I got you." So now as we hit 1 minute to go in the first half, this could be the last opportunity for either team. Cheyenne Dennis taking her time, therefore, smart. Going to take forever to kick this ball so that Auburn doesn't have a chance to counter. Could have kicked it 15 seconds ago, does it at the 44-15 mark. Towards the penalty box, Hochstadter tries to head it, and it's going to be played away by Auburn's Alyssa Melanson. Oh, valuable poke there by Pelletier LaRoche to slow down the Auburn attack, and even more so by Rebecca Anderson to hold up Auburn. That was a smart foul. Mentioned the USF men's team. See them crossing back in front of me. Actually good to see Trey Jackson, who looks unencumbered. He has had a mild injury that's kept him out of the first 2 games of the exhibition, but based on what I'm looking at, he could end up getting in for the game against UT Saturday. Auburn well away from the goal, and that's going to do it as Rebecca Anderson plays it out. So early lead for the Bulls on the score by Evelyn Vienne. But Auburn answers off of a corner kick on a goal by Jessie Giroux off the bench. And it's been a pretty even game. Bulls have had more of the scoring opportunities, but Auburn certainly had a good response. And you could argue that maybe the Bulls should be ahead 2-1, but I wouldn't argue it very hard. It's been a pretty even battle. That's reflected on the scoreboard. 1-1. Halftime show coming up next. This is USF Women's Soccer on USF Bulls Unlimited.
The USF women's soccer team is back in action on Sunday, August 25th, when they take on Florida at 6 p.m. Tickets are just $10 for adults, $7 for ages 4 to 12, and students get in for free. See you back here at Corbin on Sunday. Don't forget to stick around after tonight's game, as members from the team will be signing autographs near the marking table at the conclusion of tonight's contest.
Corbett Stadium, where the Bulls and Auburn tied at 1. Very interesting to see the Bulls coaching staff. Yvonne Lopez, Chris Brown, the husband of head coach Denise Schulte Brown, and of course Denise Schulte Brown herself, DSB, all staying on the field. Team gets in to cool off, obviously, maybe get some water, roam around, get your thoughts back underneath you, but right now the coaching staff is still on the field, which is kind of interesting. Auburn is off to the right-hand side in a tent, a covered tent, as though anyone's going to try and go over there and scope out what they're talking about. There are some other games going on in the conference. We will update those for you later on in the halftime show, along with some first-half stats as well. The Bulls men's team, again, we can't stress this enough, is going to be at home on Saturday night, and hope that you all can come out. They definitely have a big-time season-opening game at Maryland next Thursday. And let me tell you, everything's going to be going on at once on that night. You've got, of course, volleyball starting its season. The following night, football starting the season. The following night, women's soccer team will be getting on the road, even though they start their season at home with this one, and, of course, against Florida on Sunday. Actually, Thursday will be their road game not far from here at St. Leo. We will actually have that game for you on USF Bulls Unlimited. I figured, what the heck? That's not exactly the most costly road trip for me to make, and why not? St. Leo is actually close to where I live, about the same distance as USF is from here, so there's going to be a lot happening next week. But this weekend, the men's soccer team will be wrapping up its exhibition portion of the schedule, and just sort of to give you a recap of what they've been up to. In fact, I have the capacity here to call up the goal from last night, so we'll whip out the highlight reel, as it were, as the Bulls were taking on Eckerd, and it was an interesting situation because we didn't think they were going to play. It was quite unlike all the other games where it was raining and things still got untracked and played in a timely fashion. This game, there was no rain, but there was lightning right before the kickoff, so it ended up getting delayed by a couple of hours, and the Bulls ended up deciding to play a 60-minute game, and really, honestly, for the first half, not much doing in that one, but in the second half, in what would have been, well, just past the halfway point of a 90-minute game, in the 48th minute, the Bulls, who were really pressing forward to try and get that goal, got it. And it was the only goal of the game. So the Bulls, I'm going to guess, want to see a little bit more production. I know that head coach Bob Butenhorn had stressed that he's not so concerned about the actual outcomes of the games, but really it was lackluster for a little bit in that contest, and that all changed in the second half, and they got rewarded. Credit to Eckerd, too, definitely, for playing a very, very intense game, and in a good way, making the Bulls work for that 1-0 victory. But the game on Saturday night, again, since it's an exhibition game, is not one that, they're going to charge admission to, but go ahead and plan on opening your wallet just a little bit, because the sides in this Rowdy's Cup / Mayor's Cup from USF and the University of Tampa, they've been playing this thing for 4 decades now, decided this year to make it a fundraiser, and it'll probably be a different charity every year. In this case, it'll be for the Children's Cancer Center of Tampa. So make sure Saturday night you realize that. Don't just, I'm not telling you what to do, but try not just to stroll in through the gates without giving some to the Children's Cancer Center. And of course, given the fact that USF and UT are the combatants, it is going to be a fun game to broadcast, as we will right here on USF Bulls Unlimited. So we'll have that game Saturday. We will have the women's game against the Florida Gators on Sunday. That is a 6 o'clock kick. Next week, we'll be headed to St. Leo, and of course, next week also the football broadcasts begin. The first coaches show, we can tell you, is definitely at the World of Beer on Fowler Avenue, Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We'll have it live on USF Bulls Unlimited, and our new radio partner, 620 and 95.3 FM WDAE, will be broadcasting from there as well. And then Friday night, starting with the 5 o'clock pregame next week, the Bulls and Wisconsin. And if you didn't hear, 5 o'clock, got to tune it right here to USF Bulls Unlimited, because it will not be on the radio. It will not be anywhere else, and that's how it's going to be for the whole season. All year long, the first hour of the pregame show is going to be exclusive to USF Bulls Unlimited. And I can tell you, we're going to do all the good information in the first hour. I'm kidding. We'll have good information in both hours, but make sure you make a note of that. Here at halftime, it's USF 1, Auburn 1. We've got some other news going on around campus, and we'll pass along those scores from other teams in the conference when we come back. This is USF Women's Soccer on USF Bulls Unlimited.
Fans, welcome back to the field, your USF Bulls.
One, we are at the break. Derek Sharp here with you. Bulls got on the board early on a score by Evelyn Vienne, only for Auburn to answer later on in the half on a corner kick. We'll have the second half for you in less than 5 minutes. Taking a check at other scores in the conference. And UCF is 0-1, losing at home. This game started an hour before ours, falling to Wisconsin by that count. Other games in action, Cincinnati, and this one started before anyone, but has been delayed a few times by rain. Last check, the Bearcats, and this is actually in Virginia. They're playing in Harrisonburg against St. John's. Follow the bouncing ball. Their next game will not be against James Madison. Cincinnati will play Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, while St. John's will just hang out in Harrisonburg apparently and play. Anyway, it's Cincinnati looking good so far. At last check, 2-0. Houston's looking good so far, up 2-0 against Sam Houston State. On the other side, UConn is trailing Providence by the score of 2-0, and Temple gave up a 3 spot to a ranked team, Wake Forest. That is one team on the Bulls schedule that has a 3-0 first half lead in Winston-Salem. ECU and George Mason were supposed to be playing, but there's this thing called lightning there, so it's been delaying the start of it. 8 o'clock starts. SMU will be at Northwestern, along with Memphis. Again, the team that barely just in second place as far as the preseason predictions, to finish just behind the Bulls. And they will be playing as well. So we'll let you know what goes on there in our post-game show. And hopefully by then, it'll be a victorious post-game show. Over at the Corral, USF green and gold scrimmage. I guess the first set was a pretty wild one, 28-26. Second one just wrapped up. If you're a Gold fan, you'll be happy. They won it 25-10. Football practice wrapped up about 45 minutes ago, right beyond where we are seeing right here the soccer game. And I can tell you, if you want to hear, thanks to my friends over there, I'll give them a shout out on the air. Jay DeBramo, Sports Information Director. Got me some Kelvin Pinkney, some Greg Reeves. Looks like defensive line was the focus today of the media sessions, because Coach Cronin was in there as well. So you'll hear all of that audio tomorrow morning on Bulls Beat. Every morning between 7 and 10, we bring you the latest news. So on that show, you'll hear good football stuff, hopefully some winning highlights from this game, and some other news that's going on as well. Volleyball incidentally picked 6th in the conference, a very tough league. Basically, they were picked to tie for 6th with Wichita. Those teams, that's not a bad one to be associated with. And of course, UCF picked to win the American Athletic Conference just ahead of Cincinnati. And there was even some cross-country news on a coaching staff. So again, every single morning during the week, you can hear all of the news and interviews and highlights on Bulls Beat right here on USF Bulls Unlimited. We'll have some first half stats, and then we'll kick it off. 1-1 is our score. We'll get the second half underway very shortly. This is women's soccer on USF Bulls Unlimited. That ball is one-timed, and not bad effort there by Roberts. The Brits hook it up for the first time as Katie Kitching sends it to Roberts. And didn't get much contact on it, but she at least got it on frame, forced the save there by Hart. You never know. Again, a player who's transferred in from San Diego State getting her first run. Vienne has to try and run it to herself, kicks it low and to the right, and going low to make the stop there again is Hart. Kate Hart. At the beginning of the week, their head coach, Karen Hoppe, was not sure who was going to be their starting goalkeeper, although just educated guess between a grad transfer from San Diego State who got plenty of time out there, by the way, for the Aztecs, and a true freshman. You're probably thinking it's going to be the more experienced player, especially in a game like this. And so far, Hart has made a couple of tough saves. Giroux in to the starting lineup in the second half and earns a corner kick herself. The goal scorer for the Tigers sets up their fourth corner kick. Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche headed that ball out. More truthfully, the ball headed her, but she got her head on it. So it'll be Caroline Peterson, the freshman, taking the corners. That's an impressive duty to be thrust upon. She served the ball in well for the Auburn goal. That ball's another tough one, and Martinez is going to have to come to get it, and she does. Boy, I bobbled it a little bit there, but comes down with it. Mentioned Hart getting experience at San Diego State. Not a whole lot. A couple games last year, so Kitching on the other side up to Vienne, and it's knocked away. That should be a corner kick. Good defense, and Vienne might need a second to get up. Actually, boy, that is great sportsmanship. And you hear the crowd applaud it by Jalen Gatson. Vienne had her leg up in the air like she had a cramp, and Gatson wanted to help her stretch it out, but I think she was just a little bit shaken up and not cramped up. But still, that was good to see. So, yeah, the goalkeeper for Auburn, I say, has more experience, but didn't log a ton of minutes in her Aztecs career. One game as a freshman, back up as a sophomore again, one game as a junior, and just started and played in 2 games last year. So, done pretty well tonight for the Tigers. Andrea Hawk started to take this corner. 3 corner kicks so far, combined between the teams, and it almost fell onto the head of one of the USF Bulls. Instead, out to Wagner, cuts it back, gets a left-footed shot off, and that's going to go wide. So Sabrina Wagner certainly looks just fine out there, and that is a very, very positive sign for the Bulls. One thing that hasn't happened too often tonight is, boy, I better not say it from a USF perspective, right? But they've limited Bree Foltz pretty well. An All-American, not just an All-SEC player. 9 goals, 7 assists last year for the senior from Lakeland Christian. I would say just down the road, but I wouldn't want to take that drive right now. Probably be at least 45 minutes of a drive. I know they got a nice field over there. I'm pretty sure they have a turf field. Ball's headed back by Gatson, and Bulls gain that possession on the Auburn defensive third. You just heard a man yell, "Come on, 31." That would be someone who I think might be related to Bree Blethyn, who is going to come up and take this long throw. Instead, it's a short throw to Sydney Nasello. Good throw, though. Nasello's going to try and beat Gatson into the corner. She does, but that touch is a little too long, and Auburn's going to win that battle. As Nasello got around the defender with those legs, but doing well to come in and intercept that ball that Nasello touched a little too hard was Sarah Haushin, and Nasello banged it right off of Haushin and out for a goal kick. So pretty even start to the second half. These 5 minutes we played in a 1-1 game. Probably too early to talk about the tie rules, but if you're wondering and if you're listening and you're thinking about it, and I just thought about it, I'll go ahead and tell you. If they're tied after 90 minutes, you can have ties in college. You do have ties in college, but they basically let the teams go 20 more minutes. So if you're beating someone in 90, great. If you're tied with them, you get 20 minutes to decide if you're going to beat them or not. Honestly, tie would not be a bad result, but the Bulls want to win this thing, needless to say. So does Auburn. Bree Blethyn, nice defense, chips it up to Sydney Nasello. Does a little step over there and turns on the Jets. Man, she is something. As fast as you can be. Angeline Daly actually does well to knock the ball out of bounds. But it'll be a throw-in for Nasello. Auburn just has one player on the Bulls' defensive side, so they are taking care of the ball here. I think they're looking to counter when they can. Rebecca Anderson into VN. That's a decent ball. She couldn't get her foot on it, but saved by Hart. Oh, Rebecca Anderson sent in a chipped shot, and that is a perfect pass to VN, and she just fell short of getting to the ball before Hart did. Tried to poke it over her, and Hart, to her credit, this goalkeeper we talked about with a lot of college years under her, but not a lot of college minutes under her. Kate Hart made the key play there, but the Bulls continue to be on the front foot here. Andrea Hochstadter, good slide tackle to dispossess Gadsden. Oh, up the Nacella, but it just gets away. Well, you can sort of appreciate the way things are going right now. Every single would-be thrust forward or potential shot is being oohed and awed, and it's just a good soccer crowd right now. And they are filling up to the berms off to my left. That's the goal that the Bulls are attacking, hoping that they could all jump up and celebrate another goal. If you missed the first part of the game, you didn't get to see the Bulls' goal. Evelyn Bien got it less than 4 minutes in. She's gotten loose a couple more times. Good defense by Blethen to get possession for the Bulls. Good pass by Hochstadter to Kitching. Going to have perhaps a go, but cuts it back. Nacello, plays it to herself. She's going to chip it. Tried to chip it to Vienne, and that was a great idea by Nacello, but got a little bit too much on it, and it went right to Hart. Nacello didn't really have, not bad with the left foot, but a good chance at a shot there, and so tried to cross it craftily to Vienne, who was right there in position, but just got a little too much on it. Boy, you like the way things are going and looking right now for the Bulls. They are on the rush, but that ball, Hochstadter's intended pass for Vienne, was intercepted well by Houchin, who's been in the middle of a lot of plays here because she is the one responsible for Vienne. Oh, man, out on the right side of the field, Katie Kitching, and a little bit of contact, but this official is letting the players play, and Auburn players still down. Bulls can't take advantage as Rebecca Anderson's pass intended for Sydney Nacello is out of play. Let's see if they got to stop plays. And Kitching, who was in that collision, is going to go over there, and I believe that's Alyssa Melanson, check up on her. So the sportsmanship has been really good here tonight. Of course, both these teams want to win the game. They're not completely concerned with being overly kind sports, but it has been good from that angle. And you never know how a game's going to go sometimes. Get some contact, get some chirping. We haven't had that here tonight. It's been well played. While we have this opportunity, a small injury situation, I can tell you again our schedule of contests on USF Bulls Unlimited is pretty packed. Any sport that is going on a field is going to be pretty much live on USF Bulls Unlimited, as we've got soccer, and we also have football, baseball. We'll do a lot more softball this year. We'll try to do some volleyball, but the way the schedule sets up, oftentimes those games are going on at the same time as a soccer game, and frankly, soccer matches are easier to call, but we certainly cover the volleyball angle for you on USF Bulls Unlimited with our daily show, Bulls Beat, every single morning. Had a chance to talk to Courtney Draper, and we can tell you that they're very excited about their roster. They today learned, and this is no big shock, that Jakara Walker is picked as a preseason all-conference player. Led the team in kills last year after transferring in from Marshall. Originally a Florida kid from PK Young there in Gainesville, and had an outstanding season. But it's not just her. They've got an interesting mix. Players that were right into the starting lineup, if not a lot of time as freshmen, and Melanson's going to get up, and we hope she's okay, but we'll keep an eye on her. Don't see anyone set to go in for Auburn, but could be wrong about that. And actually, one of the, if it's not the trainer, Sigmas for the bench, so that is going to be it, at least for now, for Alyssa Melanson, who is an all-conference prediction. So we hope she is okay, but she is walking a little gingerly. Not that bad. She is walking on her own pace, but Bulls, I mentioned some of the players that were freshmen on the volleyball team from last year. Lindsay Pliapole, hitter, Cece Clausen, big, great libero, setter Lauren Lebeck. And some players that were on the team last year didn't necessarily play a bunch. Peyton Thompson being the big name. They're excited about her. Allie Barnhart, a 6'4" freshman. I know for a certain that Courtney Draper is very pumped to have her on the squad. So Melanson will go out of the game, the junior from Houston, Texas, and she's going to be getting some water. I think she's going to be okay. Even though the trainer signaled for the bench, she's nodding her head, talking to her coach, and I think she's going to be fine. So excellent news there. And even Denise Schulte-Brown wants to go over to the area where those Auburn folks are gathered to make sure everything is cool with their player. And I think the discussion here is what was going on in the field of play. And I know that the Bulls played the ball out of bounds, so yeah, technically they're going to have to drop it in to Sydney Nasello, and she's going to kick it out of bounds. I know that the course of the play had it being an Auburn throw, and they could have just gone that way, but technically they're saying that the play was stopped for an injury. And the Bulls doing the sportsmanlike thing there, giving Auburn the ball. 54 minutes gone. We resume action. And Sydney Nasello wins a headed pass from Evelyn Vienne. Well there. Ooh, scoots around two defenders, but there was a third ready to intercept the ball in the form of Angeline Daly. Nasello tries to jump back into the fray and does so pretty well against Caroline Peterson. Oh, good job there as Gadsden tried to kick the ball up the field, and Nasello got her foot on it, forces a deep throw in. Right from the start, last year as a freshman at Land O'Lakes High School, Sydney Nasello got the attention of the Bulls with her fitness, and she can run for days. Which is pretty much what you do in soccer anyway. We near the 55-minute mark, 10 minutes into the second half here. Nothing doing yet. Both teams being careful, but the Bulls showing the more offensive threat by far here in the half. We know that Auburn certainly has the dangerous players, though. Briefholz hasn't gotten off yet, and that concerns you. They returned 79% of their scoring from last year. And there's some serious speed being shown out on the left wing by Auburn, but Lucy Roberts had no issues getting that ball. And I guess Alyssa Melanson's okay because it was her leg area that was being looked at, and she sprinted to that ball. And that's going to be a foul, and that's going to be a relatively dangerous free kick area. Drawing the foul well there was Sydney Richards, the freshman. A little bit further out than I first saw. It's pretty much the same effect of a corner kick. But still a chance here for Auburn. Considering they did score on a corner kick, you got to be wary here if you're the Bulls. Sent in well. Martinez has to stay on her line. Comes across. Auburn's going to chase it down. Turns to try and play it in. Got to be careful there if you're the Bulls, and they are. Boy, Bree Blethen forced a pass that Lucy Roberts swallowed up. And that was one where the player involved with the ball, Sydney Richards, turned right into the penalty box, and when she was on that fringe, Blethen knew very well not to overdo the aggressiveness. Well, this is certainly interesting. The player that is getting ready to come in for the Bulls, Rosalio Muñoz-Gonzalez, a freshman from Spain that we did not see in either of the warm-up games. We'll find out soon where she's going to play. Not here, though, as Sydney Martinez plays the ball out of bounds. That'll be an Auburn throw. Of course, you can't substitute until your team is throwing the ball in. So they'll have to wait for the debut of Gonzalez. Interesting. And now it's going to happen. Looks like she's going to replace Sydney Nasello. So Nasello's going to get a breather here at the 57-minute mark and get a big-time round of applause. So Gonzalez into the game. Again, did not play. And listen, there was so much action going on in DeLand when you had 3 30-minute periods and so many players. She could have gotten into that game. I don't think she did. I was there. So we'll see what she can do. Right now, we know what Evelyn Vienne can do. She loses the ball. Bulls settling back into more of a defensive stance, to be honest. Rebecca Anderson, defensive midfielder, basically making it a 5-person back right now. Gonzalez, first touch is pretty nice. Clears the ball out of a little bit of a jam, plays it back for Bree Blethen so that the play can shift over to the right-hand side. There's Katie Kitching hooking up with Sabrina Wagner, who's looking pretty healthy after an injury scare early, has the ball knocked away, but it'll be a throw-in. Rosalia Gonzalez from Spain. So far, so good. She's only played a minute. See if she can be a part of something special here as the Bulls try and break this 1-1 tie. Heady work there by Cheyenne Dennis with Giroux, the goal scorer, on her tail. Able to volley it out of the air over Giroux and restart the attack attempt for the Bulls. No Nacello. So up top you got, of course, Vienne kitching on the right wing. And up here on the left wing is Gonzalez. There's going to be a foul. That should be on the Bulls. It is. Was part of the Spanish national team's development program on the under-16 squad. Reading from the news release when they announced the signing of several international freshmen. Denise Schulte-Brown said she is very creative, very technical. So far, I've seen both of those things in a brief period of time. Sydney Martinez, very technically sound there on a long free kick attempt by Auburn. Jumping off the line to snag this Sarah Houchen effort. Actually, an Auburn player had a chance at it if Martinez had not quickly made the decision to come out and play the ball. Both teams have a goal as we near the hour mark. Something tells me we could be playing more than 90 minutes here today. Again, if it is tied, and it is right now, you play a maximum 20 minutes of overtime. If it's tied after that, it's a tie. But golden goal if someone scores at any time in those 20 minutes. Evelyn Vienne, as I'm saying that, oh man, had it poked away well by Auburn, but Katie Kitchen gets it back. Vienne wants to turn, gets it knocked away, but now it's off to Gonzalez. There's her first touch, and it's a beauty, and it's knocked away by Auburn, but Gonzalez is still on top of the ball, has a trailer in Anderson. Can Anderson send it in? Not a good touch, but back to Gonzalez on the left side. She shifts it over to her right foot, tries to split two defenders, and that was a little too creative as she loses the ball. But some composure there, and maybe Gonzalez got a little too excited with two players in front of her. Could have slotted right back to Anderson. Ball is punched in by Auburn. Martinez has to come out of the penalty box to boot it back onto the Auburn side of the field. Gonzalez gets in the way of Auburn's Treva Aycock. Forces a pass, and they try and reset down the right side. And the Bulls hope this one will roll out for a goal kick, as it does. Caroline Peterson tried to chase it down, but runs out of room. That's going to be a substitution horn for Auburn. Jalen Gadsden, who gave them some solid minutes. The sophomore out of Hilton Head, South Carolina. Riley Pikowski, the freshman who started the game, will be back in for the Tigers. Pikowski was subbed out in the 11th minute. So Aubrey McGrath, not used to spending too much time on the bench. I'll have to look at her stats to confirm my notion there, the senior. Did not play the first 15 minutes of the half. She's going to jump in there. And Rebecca Anderson is going to sit out for the first time tonight. And McGrath started all 19 games last year. Played 1,410 minutes. No way, no how am I doing that math. Seems like a lot. I could do it. It's around 70 minutes a game, so she has spent some time on the bench. And she spent about 15 minutes there today. She's in there. So the Bulls have Vienne McGrath, their top two goal scorers from last year. Andrea Hochstadter, of course, third on the scoring list. And they're going to bring in Sydney Nacello back off the bench. So a quick breather for Nacello will end up being just about 5 minutes. 62 minutes gone in this one. Tied at 1. Thank you for tuning in to what's been a tense game. We figured it would be on USF Bulls Unlimited. Number 18 preseason ranked USF Bulls against the unranked Auburn Tigers, whose freshman Pikowski puts a nice little shot on goal, but Sydney Martinez saw it well in advance. And a whole ton of shots for Auburn. They're getting outshot in this game 12-4. In fact, that was the first save for Martinez. It wasn't much of a difficult one. Oh, back to Aycock. You got to be careful here. Oh, she cuts it back, and Bree Folds was offsides. Immediately calling for the offsides were, well, everyone on the Bulls. Not the least of which was the goalkeeper, who was a little bit concerned that an All-American player would have been one-on-one with her. Good call, linesperson. Can't sub off that. Be interesting to see who is coming out for the Bulls here. I'm going to guess Kitching. And if that's the case, to have Vienne, McGrath, Nasello, and Hochstadter all in the lineup, well, that's your starters. Hoping for a big finish, obviously. Vienne fends off a defender, tries to pass it into the middle of the box, does so, and McGrath was sitting in the vicinity, but Hart off her line. So Kate Hart has done a fantastic job on the Auburn side of things. And her first start in the SEC. Again, a player who only started 2 games last year and is a graduate student. Played against Air Force and New Mexico. Oh, sent in well by Folds, but offsides is Giroux. And Sydney Nasello is thinking someone just kicked the ball out of bounds. That's the second whistle she's heard that hasn't allowed her to go back in the game. Gonzalez is going to switch the field and do so well. Oof, that was a nice, tidy 30-yard pass for the freshman from Spain to Sabrina Wagner, who chested it down and back to Lucy Roberts. Roberts wants to switch the field, does so to Cheyenne Dennis. She has Blethen up on the left wing. Is going to have to try and play it high to her, and intercepted by Auburn, but right to Blethen. Creative move from the Bradenton kid to get it back over to Sabrina Wagner. Wolves have some good ball movement here, but it's all on their defensive side now. Wagner brings it across the stripe and to nobody. Saw Hochstadter, but Andy didn't quite read that pass, and now Nasello gets to come in because Auburn had to play it out of bounds. Kind of a break there for the Bulls. The possession numbers, I don't even know if I ever gave that at halftime. The possession percentages favored the Bulls 62-38, and I'd say it's not much different here in the second half. Okay, it's going to be Evelyn Vienne coming out, and that's an interesting thing. If you don't know about Evelyn, she will always signal to the bench when she thinks she's not helping the team. Sometimes you think maybe even to a fault, but hey, I'm not out there on the field. I haven't been running around for an hour, as Evelyn Vienne has been. As we hit the 65-minute mark, she subbed out with about 4 minutes to go in the first half, so she's going to get one last breather, I would say. Making McGrath the central forward. Kitching, Gonzalez, Nasello up there as well, along with Andrea Hochstadter, goes by the nickname of Andy. Sabrina Wagner pressed on the right side. Good work there by Auburn, making Wagner work, and now it's Lucy Roberts facing the defender and does well, very poised to get it back to the goalkeeper, Sydney Martinez. It was the freshman for Auburn, Sydney Richards, that forced possibly a scary moment there. Auburn could have taken advantage of that, but their freshman, Riley Pikowski, instead of heading the ball, and her head coach pointed at her head, said, "You have to head that ball." Instead, tried to play it down with her basically thigh area, and it went right out of bounds, so the Bulls have the ball back. This possession has totally been dominated by the Bulls, but it's still 1-1. Auburn made it so in the 34th minute. We are about a half hour later. Go line is what the instruction is by Bree Blethen. She does to Gonzalez, who was streaking down the left sideline, but getting to it first was Sarah Halshin, who has to mark someone else besides Evelyn Vienne, with Vienne out of the game. Cheyenne Dennis, a marksman there, wins a battle and might have poked an Auburn player in the nose. She did, and now the Bulls have a chance. Oh, it's up to Gonzalez, and Kitching could have been on the end of it. It's played up in the air high by Auburn. Kitching does well. Auburn player still down at midfield. Bulls have numbers. Gonzalez lays it out. Could be a shot chance here for Wagner. She cuts it back to her left foot, and she is hurled to the ground. No call, but Wagner gets back up. This is wild. It's a 1-on-2. Wagner needs some help. She gets it from Andrea Hochstadter. Still a Auburn player on the field, and the Bulls might play it out of bounds here. They do. And Karen Hoppe was pointing to her head, and obviously by that saying, listen, we got a player with a head injury here. You got to stop play. That's something, especially in the Premier League, you know, that they're very careful with, and should certainly be in college. So both teams, as we hit the 67-minute mark, will come off the pitch. Can't actually see who the player is that's injured. They did throw up a substitution signal, and the player coming out, according to that sign, would be Treva Aycock, so I'm going to guess that's who it is, and it would be Corey Loxley coming in, and I do see Loxley on the field, so it appears to be Treva Aycock, the 5'4" senior out of Marietta. 7 goals, 6 assists last year, and yeah, she was in that one-on-one battle with, I believe it was Kitching, and Kitching, I'm going to surmise here, you have to put your leverage out when you're about to lose your balance, and you have to put your arm out, and oh man, she must have got her right in the head, because Aycock is certainly a little bit woozy. Man, we hope she's okay. Treva Aycock being walked slowly, no doubt, to the bench. There have been some players hit the turf in this game. The Bulls lost Sabrina Wagner for the bulk of the first half. With the leg injury, she had a little bit of an awkward plant moment in her own defensive penalty box and missed all but about 3 minutes. You can look at the official stats and tell you exactly how many minutes she was charged for. 3 exactly. Now Aycock for Auburn. So we are at the 67-minute mark with the clock stopped. That's how they do it in college. If you're not completely familiar with the rules, you probably are, but just in case you aren't, you don't have these sometimes mysterious how long exactly is injury times that you do in professional leagues. When there's a stoppage of play of any appreciable length, the official actually signals for a stop, so we know exactly what the clock reads and how much time is left. 23 minutes or so right now. Ball is played back. Auburn with a nod to USF. We've seen this now 3 times tonight for injuries, knowing that the other team played the ball out of bounds, so Auburn plays it down the field for the Bulls. Got it to the head of Aubrey McGrath, but nothing serious there. Bulls have outshot the Tigers 12-4. Andrea Hochstadter lays it back to Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche. So right now, your starting 4 on defense, Pelletier-LaRoche, with Gonzalez and Hochstadter in the middle, along with Sydney DeCello. Then up top, it's Kitching and McGrath. Out to Wagner. DeCello in the middle of the park. Tries to put it in on net, sees McGrath there, headed away well by Auburn. Not a bad idea by Sid. Now it's Pelletier-LaRoche chopping it over to Gonzalez, over to the left wing to Brie Blethen. Wants to cross it in. It's on net. Hart has to come out and play. It actually collided with her own player. And they may be calling a foul, in fact a card, on Aubrey McGrath. All right, so obviously the head official saw some pushing there, and that might have been one of those accumulation cards. Believe it or not, breaking news, officials sometimes have good memories. You hear the goal mouse, the fans there for USF. In fact, a lot of them are members of the soccer team. Now that I have my binoculars out, they want to see this thing through and see if the Bulls can win it. Chanting something, which I didn't quite make out. And if I did, I have a feeling I wouldn't want to relay it to you. That's them making the noise before the kick by Hart. And boy, chopping right in the way of the path of that ball is Gonzalez. Boy, she has been impressive. Another substitution as the ball goes out of bounds. That'll be an Auburn throw, which gives them the chance to make a substitution. Haley Whitaker, the sophomore forward, will come back in. She got quite a break, replacing Sydney Richards, a freshman who has been a very promising young player. Again, scored 2 goals in their last exhibition game against Mercer. They won that one 3-0. They won the first game against Kennesaw State 1-0. Bulls won their 2 exhibition games by a combined 8-0. Uh-oh, that ball is onto the foot of Whitaker, and Martinez is out of net. Fortunately, she has 4 players behind her, and the cross-in was easily played by Sabrina Wagner. So good job there by both the Auburn player Haley Whitaker for drawing Martinez out and getting the ball around her, but USF had it covered. Sabrina Wagner very confident. Mentioned how good it was that to have Olivia Cook able to replace her in that injury 3 minutes in, but Cook hasn't seen the field this half, and Wagner's been out there the whole time. It's going to be an interesting situation for Denise Schulte-Brown. Now, having said that, we can tell you, Sydney Nacella throws the ball in, tries to get it to McGrath, headed back by Gonzalez to Nacella. Has Hochstadter in the middle of the park, and instead switches it over to Kitching on the right side. Let's see if Katie can catch up to it as we near the 70-minute mark. She does chase it down in the corner. Tries to go around to her not favored left foot. Being marked well. Now gets it off to the right. It's going to try and get a cross off, and it's knocked out for a corner. Good job there. Complete the thought really quickly. I know that as Olivia Cook just got back from playing for her country, Canada, I know that Lucy Roberts has some matches coming up for England, so it is good that the Bulls have 5 very solid options. And don't forget Hannah Telliash, who's been strong in the preseason as well. Quick kick by Hochstadter. That's to Gonzalez, out to Kitching. Crosses it into the box, but there are 4 Auburn players right there. Back to Kitching, though. Tries to get it back going. Too many Bulls players had to hold their line there to prevent from being offside. And that'll go out for a goal kick. Actually, it's fielded cleanly by Hart, so she'll roll it to Sarah Haushin. Evelyn Vienne has been out of this game for almost 10 minutes now. Anticipate her maybe coming back in at around the 75-minute mark. We just hit 71. Tied up at 1. If you're just tuning in, Bulls got on the board very early. Auburn carried the play for the next 10 minutes. Things evened out, but then Auburn got a corner kick at the 34-minute mark of the first half, and it was pounded in via the head of Jessie Giroux. Second half has been dominated by the Bulls. Haven't had what you'd call a golden opportunity to score, but many threats. Now on the other side, Roberts with a good clearance. Sydney Nasello gets out muscled for the ball by very talented Sarah Haushin. Denise Schulte-Brown thought there was a push there, signaling for a call that she's not going to get. Whitaker tries to beat Wagner, but Wagner jumps right back in and forces Whitaker, the forward, to play it back. Give and go with Daly. And, Whitaker gets around Pelletier-LaRoche. And at the very last moment, Fanny's able to kick the ball out of bounds. A throw taken by Whitaker. Chance here for Auburn with Folds on the left wing. Gets around Wagner and makes a slide tackle. And boy, Folds took a fall. Fortunately, this official's not falling for anything tonight. I like him. Gonzalez cuts the ball back. Felt a player on her, Giroux, and got around her. Liking what I'm seeing from this freshman so far, who, again, we did not see in the preseason. And I really hadn't seen her much in practice, but Rosario Gonzalez looked good out there. A nice touch pass by Hochstadter as the Bulls build the attack. Kitching with a good cross in. McGrath is there. We can't quite get her foot on it. It's headed out of danger, but Nasello picks it up. Fakes out a defender. A left-footed shot, and it's rising and just over the goal. Boy, Nasello got good contact on that. And Hart had it covered, it should be said, but Sydney Nasello faked out the defender, and I think frankly could have taken another touch and gotten a little bit more of a rip on it, but decided to try and chip it instead. And Sydney Nasello is tremendous. This official is keeping an eye on everything. As Evelyn Vienne, speaking of keeping an eye on things, is able to sub in on this goal kick, absolutely, at the 73-minute mark. And she will replace Kitching. So the Bulls are going to have Vienne, McGrath, Hochstadter, and Nasello back on the field all at the same time. And a rested Evelyn Vienne. That is something that Auburn, I'm sure, is wary of right now. You hear the goal mounts and the drummer anticipating this goal kick by Hart. There it is. Saying this official was keeping an eye on everything. There's a ball person out on the other side of the field, and he was holding the ball. Apparently that's a no-no. Keep it on the ground. I didn't know that. I used to be a ball boy. You want to have it in your hands so you can just chuck it right into the field of play and get it to the girls right away, but I guess not. Drop pass to Hochstadter. Vienne, first touch off the bench, taking on 3 defenders, cuts it around. It's going to get a left-footed shot, and it's off the post! Sydney Nasello still in play for the Bulls here. Cuts it around defender. She's going to try a low shot, and it just goes wide! My goodness! 2 golden opportunities for the Bulls right there. The best rush by far of this half. And Vienne absolutely crushed that shot low. No chance for Hart. And it banged off the left post. And then Nasello did very well with composure on the rebound to get off the shot. Cut it to her left foot. And it went just wide of the right post. But the Bulls are threatening. 75-minute mark. Vienne, it was a flat 1-on-3 And with a simple move, and I guess it's not as simple as she makes it look, but she tends to do this a lot. Cut it to her left, and boom, lined herself up for that left-footed shot. And goodness, did it almost put the Bulls back on top. Again, she does have the goal for USF today. Lucy Roberts being held, but keeps her composure and gets the ball over to Cheyenne Dennis. Boy, the Bulls really are pressing right now. Gonzalez tries to flick it to Nacello. It's knocked away, but that may go out for a corner. It's going to be a deep end throw for the Bulls instead. You feel like a goal is coming, but you also are wary of a very talented Auburn counterattack. They really have been going that route here more often than not. Cheyenne Dennis, speaking of that, with Bree Folds sort of lingering, and there's a possible interception. There it is by Whitaker. And now it's Whitaker and Folds, 2-on-3. Whitaker's got speed. Wagner's going to try and catch up. Whitaker could have something on here. Cuts it back. A decent shot, and it's blocked by Roberts, but to a rebound and right to Sydney Martinez for the save. Just as I was talking about the counterattack, Haley Whitaker put one on for the Tigers. And it was a flat interception of a Lucy Roberts ball across the middle of the park that led to that opportunity, by far the best one of the half. And give credit to, Whitaker. She had a senior, Bree Folds, ahead of her as a passing option, but she did well to take the shot there. And I guess that run is going to put her out of the game. She's being subbed. No, she's just changing positions. Okay, so Whitaker is going to see Savannah Poulter go over to that left side now. Whitaker slots into the center of the park, and she has the ball. And she sees Bree Folds, who I believe was offsides, but ended her run anyway. And Sydney Martinez has it. So very composed save by Sydney Martinez, just her second of the game, but coming up with the goods there. And give credit to Wagner. Even though Whitaker outrun her, Wagner did not give up on the play and basically made Whitaker work a little bit harder for that opportunity. And I think maybe as a result, she didn't have quite as much on that shot, which went right to Sydney Martinez. I'm going to have to catch my breath here at the 77-minute mark. Please excuse me while the ball is deep in the USF end for me taking a swig of water. Thank you for that. Now Sydney Nacello has the ball at midfield. Back to Lucy Roberts, who has been as advertised as a freshman, right into the middle of that defense. That was the first thing I noticed in their first exhibition game. Made the trip to DeLand to see them beat Stetson 6-0. And I thought, well, there's the freshman playing right away. She hasn't left the field when it's mattered anyway. Good steal by Cheyenne Dennis. Anticipation by Riley, of the pass by Riley Pekoski. Good-looking freshman as well. Auburn has several of them, along with a lot of key returners. They did lose a couple of key players. Of course, the big one being their goalkeeper. We talked about picking between a graduate transfer who had only had, 4 starts in college at San Diego State and a freshman. Didn't have to worry about that the last 4 years. Sarah LeBeau basically started every match. And I'm not kidding. I'm not going to go through her history because she's not on the team, but trust me, they lost a 4-year starter in net. So even though I can't recall any spectacular saves, it's been solid. Oh, the Bulls turn it over. This could be trouble. Whitaker in, and it's blocked wide of the net by Sydney Martinez. Whitaker, and smart move by Haley Whitaker, goes near post. That is usually something that goes uncovered by the keeper in a situation like that. It was a tough angle on the left side, but Haley Whitaker, after the Bulls had those near goals, boom, boom, one hit the post by the end, then Nacello on the follow just wide. She herself has led to a couple of opportunities and now to a corner kick. That's how the Tigers got their goal, but that one's headed away by Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche. Out to Daly, and she skies that ball. Boy, the Auburn bench is really into this one, which they would be in a game such as this. They felt that shot had a better chance to get close to the goal than it did. Well, this is good. Treva Aycock is back in the game. She had that bump to the noggin. I think she just got knocked temporarily loopy. So, as it turns out, I think about maybe 12, 13 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than that, is all she missed in the game. So she's in. Again, a 7-goal score from last season. Now Auburn is pressing up with these substitutions, these players with maybe fresher legs. And, Sydney Nacello almost turned one a little bit too wide on the right side of the field to Lucy Roberts as the Bulls try to switch. Sabrina Wagner's out there. She gets a pass from Roberts as they get near the midfield stripe. Nice pass up to Andrea Hogstadter, who looks to create a play. Jukes around a defender who hurls her to the ground. Hochstadter, and as you heard, fan in the stands won a card, and that's one of those where I think if it had been maybe about 10 yards closer to the goal, maybe the card comes out. But an easy foul call as we hit the 80-minute mark. Both teams with prime scoring chances in the last 5 minutes. You feel like this one won't end 1-1. Of course, we want the Bulls to get the one. Andrea Hochstadter, approximately 35, 40 yards from goal on the right side with the free kick. Kind of like a long corner kick. Sends the ball in. It's on net. And almost got laid just to go into the net on its own, even though Aubrey McGrath had a chance to play it. And that would have been one of those, definitely not a shot that could have ended up being a goal. But it goes wide, and give credit to Kate Hart, the goalkeeper, for seeing the angle there properly. So that turned into even better than a long corner kick. That ball was in prime heading opportunity for Aubrey McGrath, but she just missed it. 9-goal scorer for the Bulls last year. Popped in 2 in the exhibition opener. I tell you, Gonzalez has been out there for a while now. She gets the ball and tries to dribble out of a crowd with it. She's got a head of steam. She's got a player on it. Nice chip back. Vienne could be on the end of it, and it's knocked away. Great defense. There's still a chance. Vienne cuts it back, and there's McGrath. It's blocked away. Auburn with good defense. Boy, what a pass by Gonzalez. Wagner onto the ball now, and she loses it to Whitaker. And now the Bulls need to get back because Auburn has numbers. Fanny Pelletier-LaRoche has to try and force a tough pass, and she does. Roberts intercepts it. So all created by Gonzalez. There's an Auburn player down. The Bulls have to kick the ball out, I think, here. Now they're going to go with it. Vienne in on goal. One player to beat. Shoots it around her, and it's stopped by a diving Hart. The player who was down was Sarah Haushin, and she got back up and realized she needed to play defense, and now she's going to stay down. Wow. What a series of dramatic moments here in the last 7 minutes of this game as we are just shy of 82. Evelyn Vienne had one of the 2 shots there. That was blocked by a defensive player. Aubrey McGrath doing a nice job there, holding on to Haushin's leg. Maybe she has a cramp. She's going to pop back up and I think wants out of the game. But Gonzalez created it. So, very, very interesting development in this game to see a freshman who hadn't played at all in the preseason, nor in the first half. Number 20, Rosalia Muñoz Gonzalez. Now, Auburn granted a little bit of extra time with the clock stopped to make sure everyone's good. Actually, the officials are counting how many players are on the field. With some of these injuries where there's not an immediate sub, you do have to make sure they don't. I guess it's okay if they play with 10. You can't play with 12. And now, indeed, Haushin is going to come off. Doing a quick count. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so they actually do have just 10 on the field right now. So Haushin has to come off until the ball is back in play, which I find is a quirky rule. Because she will be allowed to get back on. She's actually standing in front of the USF bench instead of in the center of the field. Now she's on the park right as the goal kick is kicked. I don't get that. Just let her on the field. She gets back in on defense. Horn sounds there. 2 more substitutions, and it is Bree Folds and Jessie Garreau. Of course, the goal scorer Garreau and the best goal scorer for Auburn, so they got a little bit of a breather. Bulls have to be wary of that. USF has not made many substitutions this half. Gonzalez has been a good one. Vienne took a little bit of a breather herself. Giroux with the ball. Tries to play it into space for Folds, and Dennis is going to head it off. Plays it out of bounds. It will be a deep end throw for Auburn, but very solid work there for Cheyenne Dennis, who is the very definition of very solid. Ball played in from a tough angle by Riley Petkoski, and Whitaker over there going to try and keep it in play. Does so well from Melanson. Gets it over the Bulls defense, and boy, Bree Blethen does well and very smartly to get her foot on the ball. Really had to surrender a corner kick there, because if she didn't, it would have come right to the foot of an Auburn player. So now a dangerous situation. Potentially. It'll be Peterson taking this kick again. corner kick server all night long as a freshman. That one is into the box, but headed away. Two Bulls could have had their head on that ball, and turned out to be Pelletier LaRoche. Back in by Auburn, and on net. I think she was offsides, not called so. Whitaker couldn't connect, so a scary situation there. Too dissimilar from the second goal that Auburn had last year, where it was one of those tic-tac-toe passing plays and kind of an unstoppable one-touch shot. Whitaker was basically asked to do the same thing right there and just couldn't quite connect. So still 1-1. 6 minutes left in regulation. Bulls had a ball bang off the post about 10 minutes ago, but Auburn has had the run of play since then. And Cheyenne Dennis turns it over. Bree Blethen made herself available, but it was a tight space for Dennis to try and play the ball, and it went straight out of bounds at midfield. Now Bree Folds with Dennis on her, tries to dribble it around her, and Dennis is all over it, plays it out of bounds again. Man, Cheyenne Dennis has certainly not been intimidated, nor would you expect her to be. She is more so the intimidator. It's going to be an offsides call, or foul call, I should say, against Auburn. So the Bulls get out of danger there as we near 5 minutes to go. Bulls hold a 17-8 shot advantage. Again, they had two back-to-back. Fortunately, this isn't hockey. A shot counts. There's separation with shots and shots on goal. In hockey, of course, if you hit the post, it's not a shot. Come on now. I know you can't go through the history of hockey and change all the stats, but Sydney Nasello, after Gonzalez cleared out of a crowd, has the ball. Vienne in front of her to her left, McGrath to her right. Nasello's going to keep it for now. Think about a shot. Now touches it back to herself in the middle of the box. It takes a dive and no call. Absolutely a dive by Nasello. And unfortunately, well, it will be a corner kick for the Bulls. Unfortunately for the Bulls, but fortunately for the flow of the game, this official is not falling for the dives, because Auburn's tried it a couple of times. And Nasello, of course, Auburn gravitated toward Vienne there, had McGrath maybe to lay the ball off, but tried to make that one extra move. And if she could have kept her feet, honestly, she might have had a shot, but she decided to try and get the call, and didn't work out. So it'll be a corner, though. It was played by Auburn. With 4 minutes to go, Hochstadter. Gonzalez sort of drifting at the front of the penalty box, unguarded. Keep an eye on her. Served in. That's a tricky ball, but Hart plays it in a mountain full of bodies. She is able to scale on top of everybody. Bree Blethen was there to try and get her tall frame on the ball, but good job by Hart fielding it. Less than 4 minutes to go. So the Bulls with a nice chance again. That was all started by the freshman, Rosalia Gonzalez. Took the ball in tight space, fed it up to Nasello, and there was a 3-on-3 with the three top goal-scoring threats, in my opinion, for the Bulls, all there. It didn't work out. Hochstadter trying to use her body to screen an Auburn player, does a good job of it, gets it back to Fanny Pelletier LaRoche, who tries to send it up and see if Nasello can outrun a defender. And good job there getting back on defense by Pikowski, but Nasello is still on her. Going to force her to play the ball. It is out of bounds off Nasello, but you hear the applause for Sydney as she forced the ball deep. And now Auburn is in a spot where the Bulls can try and press and get it back. Ooh, Bree Blethen got hacked there going in to play the ball. I hope she's okay. Good 45 yards from goal, but foul called with less than 3 minutes to go. Could we have some drama in the last few minutes here? We've had enough in the last 12, starting with the ball hitting the post off the foot of Evelyn Vienne, who scored earlier. Talk about the ball people first, before. Who's the one that needs to get that ball off the field? Actually getting in a little extra work is the head official, Kevin Flynn. Now that that ball's cleared off the field, Cheyenne Dennis will play this one deep and hopefully into the penalty box. It's on the low line, and Nasello does well to try and play that ball to herself, but it's played right back out of bounds to where Cheyenne Dennis essentially took that free kick. It'll be a throw now. And it looks like the long throw taker, I believe Blethen will take it, instead drops it back to Dennis. Wants to go back into the middle of the box. Vienne had a nice break there. Could come down to her. Oh, coming in at the last moment to save the day for Auburn was Melanson, as Dennis played it in, and it was going to hop right onto the foot of Vienne after one bounce, but instead Melanson ran in there and cleared it away. What a key play that was. We are a minute and a half left to go. Bulls trying to score a dramatic late goal. Boy, more good work by Gonzalez there, knocking the ball away. Just heard a fan say, you got to hurry up. I think the players are aware of that. Whoa, Vienne, one touch to McGrath. Tries to get it back to Vienne, but it's knocked away by Auburn again. That was Giroux getting in there. Or Houchin, I'm sorry. Nicello, as we near a minute left to go, tries to loft it over to the right side, and McGrath heads the ball, and it's going to go out off McGrath's head. So Auburn avoids that rush by the Bulls, and that was a good 90-second rush. This has been quite something. Taking her time is Hart. Pretty sure this is going to be the last rush for either team. Bulls aren't playing that way, though. They're up. They're trying to get this ball out of the air and see if they can score in the last minute. When the ball comes down, there are 35 seconds left, and it pops out to Hochstadter. She's got Wagner making herself available. There's Sabrina. Crosses it. Nicello is able to settle the ball. Turns to her left, outside of the box. Going to let one rip. It's got a chance. It dips into the goal! Cindy Nicello with 20 seconds left gives the Bulls, no doubt, a 2-1 win. Wagner sent it to Nicello about 30 yards from goal. She turned. She took a touch. She knew she didn't have many options or much time, so she lofted it into the goal. Signy Nicello from Sabrina Wagner, and the Bulls score with 20 seconds left. Unbelievable shot. Lofted, and that's the kind of shot that Nicello has, as I catch my breath, tried a couple times here tonight, but to no avail. Now Bree falls off the corner kick. Bulls just need to intercept it. They foul. 15 seconds left. It has to be a quick restart here. Vienne's going to stand in the way, and that could be a card. They will stop the clock, and that's the right move by the official. 8 seconds to go. So Evelyn Vienne really kind of playing within the rules there. You don't have to stay away from the free kick taker until, you know, the ball is, or the referee says you have to, and so she took some extra time off there. So Bree Folds will try from about 45 yards to send something in, and one last touch here for Auburn, but the Bulls take the lead. This will be it. 8 seconds left. Dangerous ball. Can Martinez field it? She can. Cheyenne Dennis ducked out of the way, and the Bulls, in quite possibly the most dramatic fashion you could think of, defeat the Auburn Tigers 2-1. Cindy Nicello, who assisted on the first goal, scores with just 20 seconds left off of, as I mentioned, a play where Auburn was just clearly trying to wind down the clock, and the Bulls clearly were trying to intercept it if they could. And man, oh man, it was done. And Sabrina Wagner charged down the right side, made herself available, cut it in, saw her fellow Pasco County High School product, Cindy Nicello, who lofted one in straight underneath the crossbar, and the Bulls get the win. We'll have some final numbers when we come back. USF 2, Auburn 1. It is over. This is USF Women's Soccer on USF Bulls Unlimited.